Story time on how me and my friends almost got killed at a function last weekend that actually turned out to be a secret foreman that we did not know about. So it was me, my friend Gabby, my friend Ava, and Kaylee. We all went out. My friend Ava was in charge of finding the function this week, so she got on our Snapchat and she found a bunch of different ones, but we were going to go to the nearest one first, and then we were going to kind of hop to each one. So we'll name this guy Ted. Ted seemed very sweet and innocent, so we were like, it's not a big deal. He was like, how many girls you got? We were like, oh yeah, we've got this many girls. He was like, okay, there's a bunch of people over here. There was not a bunch of people over there. Heads up. But basically, we were all mostly sober. Like, most of us in the car were sober. I was sober. And so I was like, I don't want to be normal. Like, I'm completely sober, but like, I am just a pretty extroverted person. And I really didn't care for these people much. Like, I don't know, like, I didn't really care about what they thought of me. So I wanted an alter ego. So I created this, like, persona. Her name was Darcy, and she was, like, country or whatever. Oh my gosh, my hair's so huge. 1 second. Okay, so I was gonna go into this place, like, with the persona of Darcy. She had a country accent. She was from Texas. Like, it was just cute as fun. It just gave us something to laugh at, basically. And just, like, you know what I mean? I could really say whatever I wanted, and if I wanted to leave, like, I'm not Jada, I'm Darcy, so. So we get there, and there's actually only, like, 2 people there, 2 men, and they were like, oh, we've got more people coming, which was weird, because they already said they had people there, so it was just like, whatever. So I'm chatting it up, I'm trying to make conversation. I got stuck with Ted. Ted wasn't incredibly attractive, but also I wasn't Jada, so it didn't really matter, you know what I mean? So basically, I was not going to talk to these men after this. Okay, but, so we get there, everything's fine, I'm stuck with Ted, whatever. The world's not ending because I don't really like any of these men to begin with, but my friends were like, you're gonna get Ted tonight since you're Darcy, and I was like, fine. So I'm talking to Ted, I'm chatting it up, and then some more people show up, and there was a cuter guy. He wasn't ugly. I thought he was pretty cute. We'll call him, hold on. Okay, we're gonna call this dude Chad because he does look like a frat guy. Like, that's what he kind of, like, that was his whole, like, get up, I feel like, was just like, he was like muscular or whatever, but he had a really creepy smile. Not that that mattered, but like, just keep that in mind. So bro comes in, and I can tell he's like looking at me, like, you know what I mean? He's trying to chat with Darcy, like, a lot, like, really trying to chat it up with Darcy. And I was like, like, whatever, why not? I'm Darcy, I can really do whatever I want. So I'm chatting it up with him, and then Gabby's like looking at him like, oh, like a familiarity type of thing. Like, my friend Gabby, she's like looking at him. I can tell she like kind of knows who he is, and I'm like, but she's like weird about it. But so I'm like, what's going on? And she was like, they asked, do you know this girl, to Gabby, because she said that she was from this college that they knew of, and she was like, that's my roommate. And they're like, what in the world? So Chad just starts going on about how this girl ruined her high school experience, and wasn't giving details or anything, but it was like, what the heck? Like, you know this girl, this was Gabby's roommate, by the way. Like, if I did not already say that, like, why are you trying to talk bad about her in front of us? Like, what? But thankfully, eventually things start to mellow out, which actually not thankfully, they probably shouldn't have mellowed out, but they did mellow out. And Ted was like, hey, I want to go to the gas station to get some food. Like, who wants to come with me? And I wasn't going to go at first, but then he was like, I'll let you drive the Tesla. And I'm from a small town. I've never driven a Tesla. This is like probably the coolest experience of my life. So I was like, yes, Kaylee, will you come with me? So me and Kaylee leave. Like, no one's really like against it, so we just leave. We go with Ted and Chad, okay? So fast forward a little bit, we are driving for a bit. I drove. I was like, okay, I'm done with this, because like it was cool for a second, but really not all that it's cracked up to be. So I'm just like, okay, you can drive, I'm done. So he drives us, and Chad's in the back seat. Ted is driving since it's his car, and Ted is like basically is like flirting with me, like trying to like put his hand on my leg, and I was like, you know what I mean? And then I've got Chad in the background, like also flirting with me and being like, my mom would love your country accent, because, you know, remember, I'm Darcy, like, I'm really playing it up. And I was like, oh yeah, like, whatever. And then he was like just flirting with me, basically. I mean, at this point I felt like a hot commodity, like, I'm not gonna complain, like, whatever. But we're going to this gas station, and we drive to this abandoned building, and I was like, what in the world is going on? And they were like, oh, it's weird that the GPS took us here. And I was like, Kaylee? Like, she's in the back seat with the other guy. I'm like, so me and Kaylee are looking at us weird. And at the same time, we get a text from Gabby saying, you guys need to get back here right now. Things are going down, basically. We need to leave. The worst part about this though is that my text messages are showing up on this Tesla screen. So we are like, me and Kaylee are just like, and another worst part is that the one guy is starting to like catch up onto my act that I'm not actually Darcy, because I said I was from Amarillo, and he was like, oh, where's that? I've been to Texas. I was like, oh, it's like really down south. Bro looked it up. It's the furthest north possible. Okay, so then I text Ava after my phone's disconnected from the car, and I'm like, okay, we're gonna pretend that your dad is angry. So I'm telling them, I'm like, oh guys, we gotta go back like right this minute, because Ava's dad is so angry right now. We have to go, like blah blah blah. And they're like, are you sure? Like, and we're still at this abandoned building. And I'm like, yes, we gotta go. And they're like, okay. So it's weird that they complied since they took us to a freaking abandoned building, but they complied pretty well. So we were like getting taken back to this place. And then again, we're not getting any information out of our friends. They just said we need to get back immediately. So we get back to the place, and then we're like, okay, we gotta go, like something's going down. Gabby's like, okay guys, I'm getting a call from my dad, so I need to leave. I'm gonna go out to the car real quick and take this phone call. Basically, things are getting awkward at the place. Chad asked for my Snapchat, so I had to go on his phone and random Darcy girl. So if you got a Snapchat from this guy, I'm so sorry. But basically Ava's like, look, giving me the eye, like, we gotta go now. So I'm like trying to make up an excuse to go out there, you know, without them like catching on. And I was like, hey, I feel like Gabby's been out there for a while now, like we need to go in. Like, I don't know how they understood, like fell for this accent, but they did. And they were like, we know what's gonna happen now. And we were like, what's gonna happen now? Like, so we walk out and they're like, see you never. And I was like, Chad's giving me the dirtiest look. He's like crazy eyes, bro, crazy eyes. Okay, so then we just all sprint out. Like, it's game. Like, we're going. We gotta go now. Like, they've caught on. And, like, there's such an eerie feeling in the air. Like, my friends know something that we don't. So we get in the car, and my friend Gabby hands me the phone. And lo and behold, it's Chad's entire case net history. Bro's got charges for multiple times. Assault. Like, insane things to have charges for. And it's recent. Like, there's multiple, and they're all recent. So we are literally running it out of here. We parked down like probably like 8 blocks, mind you. Remember that. We're 8 blocks down. The story does not end here. We're just debriefing, like far away from this house. And we're like freaking out, like, oh my gosh, like we were hanging out with and we should have known better. Like, this is our bad. We need to do more research, and we are now. We've lived and we learned. But yeah.
If you date a black girl, she's gonna have black hair, black skin, and black features. I didn't know that was like rocket science. I don't know. Hey y'all, I'm Lily, and I was in a full-blown relationship with a full-blown colorist. But hold on. Let me explain. So y'all already know with my story times, I tell you guys who is who, what is what, and what's tea. Let's get right into it, y'all. We're going to call him Thomas, like Thomas the Train, or Tommy for short. I'm calling him Thomas the Train because, y'all, this man has a round head, his face is fat, and he has big old eyes. Like, he literally looks like Thomas the Train. So along the course of our relationship, Thomas would always make comments that were like super colorist when I look back. But in the moment, I didn't feel like they were a big deal because he wasn't saying anything that I hadn't heard, like either at home or like at school, or just not even pertaining to me, but like in the Black community in general. So the first thing that I can recall that was super colorist and like a big red flag was he was always talking about my nose, y'all. He was always making jokes, making comments about the size of my nose, you guys. He would just always make sure to let me know that my nose was big, as if I already did not know that. And thank God I was never like a insecure girl when it came to like my nose. I never felt ugly, I guess you could say. And I'm gonna be honest too, I was used to comments about my nose size. My siblings literally would make fun of me. When I would go to school, the kids would make fun of my nose. But like I said, like my nose has never been something that I've been like self-conscious about or insecure about. So again, I was like letting these comments, I guess you could say, slide. Another red flag that I would disregard was the fact that he was always talking about my hair. So I have type 4 hair, and y'all, this man will always say little things like,
I hope when we have kids, they get my hair and not your nappy hair. Your hair is not good. Like, you got beady beads in the back of your neck.
I would like laugh it off because, again, I'm used to these things being said to me by my family, and or if they're not pertaining to me. These are things that are talked about all the time in the Black community, y'all. Like, so I don't want, this sounds bad for me to say that like it was like normalized, but because it's really not okay. But I would just disregard it, and I would, like, you know, make jokes back at him. I would roast him back. But like, this was not okay. This man hated me, y'all, for real. So one day I had came back home from vacation, and I'm not gonna lie, y'all, when I come back from vacation, I am always super, super, super bronzed, chocolate. I'm always dark. So I remember he came and he picked me up from the airport, and y'all, do y'all know this man turned to me with such disgust in his eyes, y'all, and he was like,
You are so dark.
I think it was at this moment where I was like, mind y'all, Tommy is dark, okay? I was dark coming back from vacation, but I still was not his color, okay? What are you trying to say, sir? So this is where things got really, really like, weird. So his mom would always make comments about his stepbrothers being super, super black and super, super dark. And like, she would just talk about them like they were literal animals. Mind y'all, this is a black woman. I want to say probably like 2 shades darker than me, okay? She would only say these things because her son, Tommy, was a little bit lighter than them, but they're all dark, y'all. They are all dark, right? So Tommy proceeds to literally say,
You out here looking like my brothers in them.
y'all, I absolutely lost it in the car, y'all. Like, I was like, you're literally a colorist. Like, your whole family is full of colorists. Y'all hate yourselves. Like, y'all hate the skin that y'all are in. And honestly, I feel like you guys hate being black. Like, his mom literally thinks she's Caucasian or something, which is so... I can make a whole other video on that. I actually have a lot to say. But he starts getting so angry, y'all. And he like...
I'm not no colorist. Don't call me no colorist. What is wrong with you?
starts going crazy. So I'm looking at him and I'm like, yeah, you a colorist, because nobody would be this angry if they weren't just egging it on, because you're actually angry at this point. So I'm like, you literally don't like black girls, and I wish you would literally just say that. He starts yelling even louder, y'all. I must have really struck a nerve. He like,
You sound real dumb. You sound real dumb. All my past girlfriends have been black. My ex is darker than you.
I was like, okay, and if she's darker than me, I don't even want to know. I don't even want to know the things that you were saying to her, as if he was going to make this situation any better. If I am lying, I am dying right here on this camera. He proceeds to say,
Matter of fact, the only light-skinned girl I dated was literally ugly for a light-skinned girl.
I really need to understand, in what world is that helping your case? And it's literally giving the same thing as she's pretty for a dark-skinned girl. What the are you talking about? So anyways, we kept going at it, kept going back and forth. And I was really just telling him, like, you're a colorist. Your mama a colorist. Your granny a colorist. Y'all all colorists. Did end up breaking up shortly after that.